This week we are covering Chapter 6, Learning. How do we learn? Well, learning results from experience. By definition, learning is a relatively enduring change in behavior resulting from experience. Associations develop through conditioning. This is a process in which environmental stimuli and behavioral responses become connected. Learning theory arose in the early 20th century in response to Freudian and introspective approaches. John B. Watson argued that only observable behavior was a valid indicator of psychological activity, and that the infant mind was a tabula rasa, or blank slate. He stated that the environment and its effects were the sole determinants of learning. Behaviorism was the dominant paradigm into the 1960s, and it had a huge influence on every area of psychology. Non-associative learning is responding after repeated exposure to a single stimulus or event. For example, you move into a new house next to train tracks. Initially, one might wake up because of the train, but after time, one sleeps through it. There's also associative learning. This is the linking of two stimuli or events that occur together. You work and you get paid. It is an action with a response. Animals show this usually around food. There's also observational learning. This is acquiring or changing a behavior after exposure to another individual performing that behavior. An example of this would be if you wanted to fix something on your car or fix something at home, and you get on YouTube and look for some sort of tutorial and learn how to do it yourself. All right, habituation and sensitization are models of non-associative learning. Habituation is a decrease in behavioral response after repeated exposure to a stimulus. This is especially true if the stimulus is neither harmful nor rewarding. This is what occurs when you move into a large city and get used to that noise that is happening. Dishabituation is an increase in response because of a change in something familiar. If a constant sound stops or changes abruptly, such as birds reacting to a predator in the woods, other animals pick up on it. Here's an example of habituation. Suppose you live or work in a noisy environment, such as this city near an airport. You learn to ignore the constant noise because you do not need to respond to it. Sensitization is an increase in behavior response after an exposure to a stimulus. Stimuli that most often lead to sensitization are those that are threatening or painful. And that concludes the first part of Chapter 6, Learning.